here and there, read a little bit about it, then I felt inspired. Oh, this is really amazing. But we are chanting every morning. So why not a little bit share with all of you? So, Hare Krishna. That's the big mystery of the ceremony. And we are a bit late today due to different technical issues. And so I will shorten the summary, introduction and everything. We all devotees here, we all know the Chaitanya Mahaprabhu given this 8 shlokas, and everything is inside of this 8 shlokas. All our philosophy, all his teachings, he's explaining these 8 shlokas. So we'll be hearing Srila Prabhupada's explanation of it, of each shloka, each word. We'll be going through Sri Samodhana Bhasha of Bhaktivinoda Thakur, his explanations, and also purports by Srila Bhaktivinoda Saraswati Thakur. We'll see the commentaries of different acharyas also for different points of the Śikṣāṣṭaka, and like that try to encourage each other, inspire each other to go deeply into the chanting of Krishna's name and to follow the desire of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu Parampara to spread the glories of the holy name to everyone. So, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, why did he appear? What is the mystery of Lord Chaitanya's avatar? What are the reasons of appearance of Lord Chaitanya? Super fast that I don't want to give big lecture about it.
To give love of God.
To give love of God. So this is the point. So Srila Prabhupada says exactly like this. Srila Prabhupada said, Lord Chaitanya came here simply to preach Krishna Bhakti, love of Krishna. Correct? Any other reason?
Chaitanya also wants to experience, Krishna wants to experience Radha and Krishna.
Right, so there are confidential reasons also of Lord Chaitanya's appearance. Krishna wants to relish the nectar of his own bhakti, so knowing the mood of Srimati Radharani and what is to be the object of love. And Asha going to be the holder of love of God. So all these things are explained by Srila Prabhupada. Lord Chaitanya appeared to preach the special significance of chanting Hare Krishna. The appearance of Lord Chaitanya is both significant and confidential. He can be appreciated only by pure devotees and only through the process of devotional service. The Lord tried to conceal his identity as the Supreme Personality of Godhead by representing himself as a devotee, but his pure devotees could recognize him by his special features. The Vedas and Puranas foretell the appearance of Lord Chaitanya, but still, he sometimes called, significantly, the concealed descent of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Chandra. So, this is another significance. This is Krishna himself, but he comes as a devotee. Now, when Krishna comes as a devotee, what he is going to teach? The highest form of devotion, the purest form of devotion. Who knows better than Krishna what is pleasing to him? Devotional service means all activities meant to please Krishna. So who knows better than me what I like to eat? You may all guess. You may hit, you may miss, but why don't you ask? So when Krishna comes, he teaches the bhakti, the highest process, and the Chaitanya is so merciful, he teaches the easiest process also. So by chanting the Krishna's name, he brings the holy name as a Yuga Dharma, and by chanting the name, he gives the highest result. What is that? Prema Bhakti, and that also in Madhurya Rasa. So this is really exceptional avatar. Prabhupada says, Krishna demand, Sarva Dharman Parityaja, Mam Ekam Sharanam Praja. First you surrender. Then Aham Tvam Sarva Vibhu Moksha. Then I will deliver. You surrender. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu comes and shows us how to surrender. He pushes us to surrender. He purifies us. When he came, he would just embrace somebody, and that fellow would be overwhelmed with love of God. So it's an unusual thing what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu did. It's a mystical. It's a special mercy. So therefore he is considered as the most merciful avatar. So, yes, there are all these confidential reasons which we don't have to go through because all of you read Chaitanya Charitamrita. But then Srila Prabhupada explains to us that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has explained this kirtan movement in his Śikṣāṣṭaka. Now pay attention a bit how Prabhupada speaks. Param Vijayate Sri Krishna Sankirtanam. So Prabhupada says, this movement, Hare Krishna movement, is explained in Śikṣāṣṭaka. Look at what he says. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has explained this Kirtan movement in his Śikṣāṣṭaka. Shiksha means instruction, Ashtaka means aid. He has given us 8 verses to help us understand this Krishna consciousness movement. You see the Prabhupada, how he directly links it to this movement. Because it's true. That's what it is. That glories of holy name should be spread. That's the desire of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. This movement is spreading. This is a Kirtan movement. This is what is described in Śikṣāṣṭaka. Here Prabhupada continues. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu instructed his disciples to write books on science of Krishna consciousness. Okay. A task which those who follow him have continued to carry out down to the present day. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu didn't write many books, but he told to Rupa Goswami, to Sanatana Goswami, to all his followers to elaborate what he taught them. Personally, he taught Rupa and Sanatana Goswami and ordered them, you write books about bhakti. So many books they wrote. And Prabhupada said, and he's continuing to the present day, this instruction, because Prabhupada wrote so many books. Translated, commented, wrote the books. Parampara continues. The elaboration and exposition of philosophy taught by Lord Chaitanya are in fact the most voluminous, exciting and consistent due to the unbreakable system of the cyclic succession of any religious culture in the world. Now, Prabhupada explained many times how many books we have about God. Prabhupada said Christians, they have one tiny book, Bible. Compared to Vedas, even compared to only Gaudiya Vaishnava books. This is nothing. Even just compared to our own line, Gaudiya Vaishnava, Parampara. What do the Muslims have? One book, Quran, they have some supplementary books. They have some books following up, explanations. Other religions also, what do they have? Jewish, Torah, what do they have? Tibetan book of that. One tiny book. But here we have the enormous ocean of knowledge. And they're given by acharyas who have realized that we have lived it for the topmost sense, topmost pure knowledge. Yet, Lord Chaitanya in his youth, widely known as a scholar himself, left us only 8 verses of Śikṣāṣṭaka. Though Nimai Pandit was a big scholar, and still he did not write the books. He just preached by his example. And he himself composed the shlokas. Now this is interesting. Now what he will do in this shloka, he will condense all the philosophy inside. So we will learn that in Śikṣāṣṭaka, Achintya Veda Tattva is explained. We will learn that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said that all Vedic literature describes 3 types of knowledge. Sambandha Jnana, Abhideya and Prayojana. Sambandha Jnana means the definitions, the clear understanding. Who am I? Who is God? What is this material world? What is the purpose of life? What is our relation with God? This is Sambandha Jnana. Abhideya, then how do we act in that relationship? If I am servant of God, how do I serve God? Devotional service. And then Prayojana, what is the goal of that devotional service? So you will see, Śikṣāṣṭaka shlokas we can categorize into the other Sambandha, Abhideya or Prayojana. Then, indeed all Vedic literature, we can do that. You can say any shloka from Gita and you will see either Sambandha or Abhideya or Prayojana. There is nothing out of that. Only these 3 things are described in all Vedic literatures. Then also we will see that there are 8 steps to the pure devotion is also described. So you will see how different shlokas refers to different of those. Then you will see how this corresponds to different layers of the names in Mahamantra. So many things are described. So one by one we'll slowly go and understand what is the teaching of Śikṣāṣṭaka and how it relates to all different aspects. Another thing you will see in the Śikṣāṣṭaka, some Sloka refers to sadhana bhakti, some to bhava bhakti, some to prema bhakti. So really, when you see Acharya's explanation, when they say everything is in these 8 shlokas, everything is in these 8 shlokas, but we have to have eyes to see that. We have to have knowledge to understand how it is so. It's so important that devotees itself, they carve it in the stone, Śikṣāṣṭaka shlokas around. And we should carve it in our heart and understanding and follow and deeply absorb ourselves in the mission of Lord Chaitanya. So that's what we're discussing. Okay, so here this, Srila Prabhupada explained. Now he's kind of summarizing the Śikṣāṣṭaka shlokas, Prabhupada's explanation. Glorious to Sri Krishna Sankirtan, which cleanses the heart of all the dust accumulated for years together. Thus the fire of conditioned life, or repeated birth and death, is extinguished. This Sankirtan movement is the prime benediction for humanity at large. Now you see how Prabhupada directly links the Sankirtan, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu speaks. This Sankirtan movement, that's the prime benediction. Shreya Kayava Chandra, that's this Sankirtan movement. You see the link, directly speaking. And he's right. There's no pride in that. There's nothing, like, oh, why Prabhupada, speaking about Hare Krishna movement. Because this is the movement started by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mercy, is spreading all over the world. Priti Vityacha, Kirtanagara Dinam, Sarvata Prachara, Hoika Morana. It's Chaitanya Mahaprabhu predicted, and this movement is doing. So Prabhupada has full right to say that this Sankirtan movement is prime benediction for humanity at large, because it spreads the rays of transcendental or benediction moon. It is the life of all transcendental knowledge. It increases the ocean transcendental bliss. It helps one to have a taste of the pure nectar for which we are always anxious. Then Prabhupada goes on explaining second verse and third verse like that. He goes on explaining everything. So I'll skip a little bit because we're a little late. But it's important to understand is the way Prabhupada uses shlokas of Śikṣāṣṭaka, the way Prabhupada explains it. No? So here, again, Prabhupada speaks for the purpose of the movement. The beginning of devotional service to hear about glorious Supreme Personality of Godhead. Very, very important statement. Okay. See? Beginning of devotional service to hear. All of us started our devotional service by hearing. Either you hear the holy name, or you read a book, hear from Prabhupada, or some devotee preach to you. But Shravana is first thing. And that is actually changing our conscience. That is what is purifying us. No? So, that is recommended verse. Vina Hare Guna Piyusha Phana. One must drink the nectar of the glorious Supreme Personality of Godhead, and this means that one must be always engaged in hearing and chanting the glories of the Lord. It is the prime method for advancing in spiritual life. It is the prime method of advancing in spiritual life. So Guru Maharaj always says that if Shravan is good, Kirtan will be good. Shravan is heart of Kirtan. If we are hearing lecture, if we are reading Prabhupada's books, if we are then chanting will be good, Kirtan will be good, our attitude about the devotional service, everything will be good, because we know why we are doing what we are doing. Otherwise everything becomes mechanical and automatic, and then you are sitting there with why I'm working here, I should go out and get more money if I go out. What is the point? And all this mental thing will come. There's no proper hearing, that chanting won't have Shakti. It will not have full effect. It will have some effect. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also recommends in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, if one wants to make advancement in spiritual life, by great fortune he may meet upon a spiritual master from him learn about Krishna. So this is Bhagavan Jiva. By serving both spiritual master and Krishna, he gets the seed of devotion from Kilata Beach. And if he sows the seed within his heart and water it by hearing and chanting, he grows in luxuriant Bhakti Lata or Bhakti Keeper. So this is how devotional service goes. This is how it is. The creeper is so strong that it penetrates the covering of universe and reaches the spiritual world and continues to grow on and on until it reaches and takes shelter of the lotus feet of Krishna. Just as an ordinary creeper also grows on and on until it takes a solid shelter on a roof. Then it is very steady, grows and produces the required fruit. The real cause of the growing of such a fruit, which is called nectar of healing, the glorious of Supreme Personality of Godhead. It is the water, the creeper of the ocean serves by healing and chanting. So this is how we progress in spiritual life. How do we progress? How do we advance? Prabhu, how do I advance? Hearing more, chanting more. More hear and more chant. More hear and more chant. This is the process. This is the formula. Now, the purpose is that one cannot live outside of society of devotees. One must live in association of devotees, where there is a constant chanting and hearing of the glories of the Lord. This is the thing. Sometimes we have a misunderstanding with management, sometimes we have a little misunderstanding with particular devotee, not go to temple. But temple is not the building, temple is where satsanga is, temple is where Shravan and Kirtan is happening. You cannot stop coming to temple. You must come and hear and chant. This cannot stop, otherwise our spiritual growth will stop. Just that if you don't put water on the plant, what will happen? It will dry up. And this is the fact, this is how it is. The Krishna consciousness movement is started for this purpose, so that hundreds of Western centers may give people a chance to hear and chant, to accept the spiritual master and to disassociate themselves from persons who are materially interested. For in this way one can make solid advancement going back home, back to God. So you see, this is basically your movement is based on instructions from Śikṣāṣṭaka. That's what Prabhupada directly links you. The very purpose of this movement is based on the instructions of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Śikṣāṣṭaka. So now, it's interesting that when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu spoke this Śikṣāṣṭaka, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared, spent 24 years in Navadvip, in Grihastha Ashram, inaugurated movement there, started spreading the chanting, Sankirtan started in Navadvip, and he took Diksha from Ishwar Puri, and then later on he took sannyas from Keshav Bharati. And then when he took sannyas, he went on traveling. For 6 years, he went to Vrindavan, went to South India, Then he shifted to Puri and spent 18 years in Puri. And the last 12 years described in the Antya Lila are where Chaitanya Mahaprabhu fully absorbed the love of God. And he went on manifesting different bodily symptoms. Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami says that he manifested symptoms which are not even described in the Vedas. Many are described, Sattva Bhava, external hair stands on the hand, but becomes stunned, pains, limbs would extend. These extraordinary symptoms of love of God he would show. And he showed some others which were not even described in the Vedas. That is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So he relished the Prem Bhakti in close association with few devotees. Daily he will go with all devotees in Sankirtan, but very few would understand why he sometimes reacts on some shloka. Somebody chants shloka, he would react. He would start crying, he would start running like a man, he would start shouting. It was a transcendental, overwhelming feelings of love of God that he was experiencing. It's a transcendental madness. So only few devotees, Ramananda Rai, Swarup Damodar, very few of them could understand the position of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, his mood, his feelings, what would invoke and what would not invoke. So in these very confidential pastimes, we all went to Gambhira, the room where Chaitanya Mahaprabhu stayed, with Ramananda Rai, Swarup Damodar, and when Antya Lila goes final pastimes, the Lord was more and more absorbed in the deep feelings of love of God. And this is the moment when he spoke in Śikṣāṣṭaka prayers. This is described in Chaitanya Charitamrita. I just showed the shlokas. This is Antya Lila. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu does reside in Jagannath Puri, Nilachala. He was continuously overwhelmed, night and day, by separation from Krishna. This is another feature that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu explained, that to be with Krishna and to be separate from Krishna, these are two feelings of love of God. But to be separate, vipralamba, that is even stronger feeling, even more intense thoughts of God. develop, even more stronger affection and desire to be with him. The life intensifies thousandfold in separation. And this is teaching of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So, this is particularly Viraha, Krishna Viraha. That was his mood. Mood in separation was cultivated. Very strong, intense feeling of love of God. Next shloka says like this. Day and night he tested transcendental blissful songs and verses with two associates, namely Swarup Damodar Goswami and Ramananda Rai. And we know in Krishna Lila these are the gopis. These are the closest associates of Radha and Krishna. Then it said, he relished the symptoms of various transcendental emotions such as jubilation, lamentation, anger, humility, anxiety, greed, eagerness and satisfaction. He will recite his own verses, expressing their meanings and emotions, and thus enjoy testing them with these two friends. He would himself compose the shlokas. So this is Śikṣāṣṭaka, spoken, composed by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and he would explain it to them. So they are his own explanations of the shlokas. Sometimes the Lord would be absorbed in particular emotion, he would stay awake all night, reciting related verses and relishing their taste. There was no sleeping at night. There was no sleeping for Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. All night there was discussion, fully absorbed in daytime kirtan. And nighttime, again, absorption, daytime kirtan. They were fully transcendental activities. In great jubilation, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, my dear Swarup Damodar and Ramananda Rai, know from me that the chanting the holy names is the most visible means of salvation in this age of Kali. So, he was preaching to them, sharing with them, glorifying the power of the holy name. Then he said, in this age of Kali, the process of worshiping Krishna is to perform sacrifice by chanting the holy name of the Lord. One who does so is certainly very intelligent and he attains shelter at the lotus feet of Krishna. And then immediately he quotes, Krishna Varan Prashad Krishna Sango Pangas Parshvan Yagya Sankirtana Praya Yajanti Hisumedasa. Then he quotes the shloka. Okay. And then he says, simply by chanting the holy name of Krishna, one can be free from all undesirable habits. This is the means of awakening Gokula fortune and initiating the flow of waves of love of Krishna. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, this is now a direct conversation given by Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami. These are words used by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Then he spoke the shloka. Chaitadharmanamachanam bhavamaha dhava divakanam Shreya Kairava Chandrika Dharanam Vidya Adhu Jivanam Anandam Buddhivardhanam Pratipadam Purnamrita Swadanam Sarvatma Snapanam Param Jayate Sri Krishna Sankirtanam. Then he spoke this shloka. And then he explained. The next shloka he explains. Okay, we will read the translation first. Let it be all victory for the chanting of the holy name of Lord Krishna, which can cleanse the mirror of the heart and stop the miseries of the blazing fire of material existence. That chanting is the waxing moon that spreads the white lotus of good fortune for all living entities. It is the life and soul of all education. The chanting of the holy name of Krishna expands the blissful ocean of transcendental life. It gives a cooling effect to everyone and enables one to taste full nectar at every step. Now this is the first shloka of Śikṣāṣṭaka. All glories to the chanting of the holy name of Krishna, Sankirtan. Now Chaitanya Mahaprabhu explains like this. By performing congregational chanting of Hare Krishna mantra, one can destroy the simple condition of material existence, purify the unclean heart, and awaken all varieties of devotional service. Sara Bhakti Sadhana Uttama, Chitta Shuddhi, Papa Samsara Nasham. Look at the words we use. He's explaining the meaning of the first shloka of Śikṣāṣṭaka. The result of chanting is that one awakens the love of Krishna and tastes transcendental bliss. Ultimately, one attains the association of Krishna and engages in his devotional service, as if immersing oneself in a great ocean of love. So these are the two shlokas explanation of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. By chanting, Jiva becomes free from all contaminations reveals his Swarupa, purifies his consciousness, sees the Lord, enters into his pastimes and attains eternal pastimes in the abode of the Lord, and is free from repeated death, free from all miseries. So this is therefore Param Vijayate Sri Krishna Sankirtan. Now, introduction to his commentary, Bhaktivinoda Thakur describes few things. He says that in the Śikṣāṣṭaka we find that supremacy of the path of devotional service is described. Okay. Param Vijayate Sri Krishna Sankirtan, not only chanting the holy name, but actually devotional service is established also as a superior process to karma, to jnana, to yoga, to any other processes. Then we say Sambandha Vidya Prayojanas are also explained. And at the end of after we go through all age shlokas, we'll be classifying them according to Sambandha, Vidya, Prayojana and different divisions. Personal versus impersonal concept of God is also explained. Because say, I know that Anuja Kinkaram, I'm your servant, Patitamam, Ishame Bhavamudo. And also Achintya Beda Beda Tattva is explained that Jiva is spiritual, but is contaminated, where the Lord is never contaminated. Chaitya Dharma Namajam indicates itself that the Jiva, his Chaitanya is pure, but now is covered by material contaminations. And he quotes the Jiva Goswami, he gives an example of sun and sun disk. So we know that sun rays, sun disk, we've heard that example many times. But here it extends one more aspect of that. He says the sun is like Krishna, Supreme Personality of Godhead. Sun disk, sun planet is his abode, Vaikuntha, spiritual abode, manifested of spiritual energy. So absolute truth is, Krishna, his spiritual energy, his marginal energy and his material energy. So for that to describe absolute truth in four aspects, he uses this example. Krishna is sun disk or sun planet is his abode, spiritual abode, manifestation of spiritual potency. The Jiva is sun rays, Mama Evamsha Jiva Loke Jiva Bhuta, sun ray of the sun. Is not different from the sun, but is not the sun. Achintya Veda Veda. And then he says, and then sun reflection in the shining objects, in the water, in the mirror. This is external energy, reflection of spiritual bodies. So he gives that very nice example. The absolute truth means these four things. Now tell anything that exists. You can see, you can fit it, either his Supreme Lord, or his spiritual potency, or his material potency, or his Jiva. Nothing else exists. Demigods, mostly Jivas, Lakshmis, Shakti Tattva, spiritual potency. Ram, Varaha, Vishnu Tattva, Sun, Krishna himself, material energy, Swarga Loka, material. So absolute truth consists of these four. So all these things are explained in Śikṣāṣṭaka. Okay, so we'll start first Sloka. Thank you very much. It's a simple, but it's nice to hear the detailed explanation. Because morning we chant nicely, but we chant fast. It's difficult to meditate on every word of Śikṣāṣṭaka. So hopefully this will give you the inspiration. Okay, so first, words are Chaitya Darpana Marjana. Chaitya of the heart, or consciousness, sometimes translated. Darpana, mirror, Marjana, clean. So Srila Prabhupada said, that is described by Chaitya Mahaprabhu in Śikṣāṣṭaka, Chaitya Darpana Marjana. The first step will be cleansing of the heart. The first step in spiritual life is cleansing the heart. Chaitya Darpana Marjana. And in the heart, there is God already. Ishvara Sara Bhutana Vrishya Tishti. Prabhupada gives another example, another place. In the wood, in the dry grass, fire is already there. Just has to be evoked. So Krishna Bhakti, love of God is in our heart. Nitya Srila Krishna Prem Shala Kavanai. Shravana Vishuddha Chitti Karana. That Krishna Bhakti is already in the heart. The soul is made to love God. That is the purpose. That is the purpose of our existence, to love God. The soul is made for that. It has the capacity, has the potency to love God. And that love is already in the heart. Now it's covered. So it has to be revived, it has to be reawakened. So this is the So that's the process. The Lord is situated in our heart. So actually yoga system is to find out the Lord within the heart. That is meditation. Lord is there already. Simply we have to find it out. So how? By clearing our heart, by clearing our consciousness. Specifically chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra purifies, and this chanting is therefore recommended by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Chaitanya Dharma Marchana. Because holy name is Yuga Dharma. It's more powerful than any other process in Kali Yuga. No? Kritrayam Dhyato Vishnu, Tretrayam Dhyato Bhagavai, Dvapare Paracharya, Kalod Hari Kirtan. Satya Yuga, meditation was process of Vedasiko. Treta, Yagyas. Dvapara, Puja, deity worship. Kalavad Hari Kirtana. In Kali Yuga, just by the chanting of the holy name. And Lord empowers the holy name. He empowers one who chants the holy name. That is his process, that is his system. That is the method he said. You want to come to me, this is the method. Krishna made the path easy and accessible to everyone in Kali Yuga. Without previous qualification, whoever chants holy name, you get full power from it. Full blessing because of chanting Mahaprabhu. So by chanting of the names of Krishna, the mirror of the heart is cleansed and the devotee loses interest in everything external. So now this is the symptom. This is the symptom. You lose taste. Just now we got a phone call from one family that first few months mother was calling regularly, how to make my son chant, how do I make my son chant, how do I make my son chant. So finally, after 6 months, boy took interest, started chanting. Now what happened? Boy came from the school and said, I have no interest studying. I want to join full time. Now she's calling, how do I make him interested in studying? Process is working. He will not be interested in anything external. Starting fire. Once fire started, fire, pour the water. Then what's the point? No? You see, holy name works. So, anyway, when one is influenced by external energy of the Lord, his heart is impure. When one's heart is not pure, he cannot see how things are related to Supreme Personality of Godhead. Idam hi Vishwam Bhagavan Ivetara. He whose heart is purified can see that the whole cosmic manifestation is but the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But he whose heart is contaminated sees things differently. Now this is the thing. Then when we chant Krishna's name, what do we see? We'll see clearly, Prabhupada mentioned, we are not this body, we are spirit soul. We'll see Krishna Supreme Lord. We'll see material nature. We'll know this is matter, this is spirit. This is matter, this is spirit. Prakriti. We'll see Kala. We'll see eternal time. And we'll see karma, how it works and why it works. Once you see this five, then you know how to act, then you know how to behave, then you know how to react, then you know what to do in life, what not to do in life. Then everything makes sense. Then all the rules, regulations just make sense. It's not, we are suppressed and we cannot express ourselves, we cannot, all these things, religion is accused of suppressing people, controlling mind of people. These are regulated principles of freedom. We know, we can see, we can understand. So this is what holy name does. Makes you reveal the true knowledge, true understanding. They see everything in proper perspective by chanting, Prabhupada said. Now, so here, Prabhupada said again, real intelligence means linking with Supreme Personality of Godhead. When this is done, the Supreme Personality of Godhead from within gives one the real intelligence by which one can return home back to Godhead. Now we all know this, the Dhammic Yoga, correct? But now, it's interesting. Prabhupada links this Chaitanya to intelligence. Intelligence in the material world is described in this verse as pramada. Because in material existence, living entities falsely claims things to be his. He thinks, I am the monarch of all I survey. Aham mameti. When consciousness is covered by material desires, then we claim, aham, I am this body, mameti, this belongs to me, my family, my country, my property, my wife, my this, my that. I am the enjoyer. Ishwaram aham bhogi, that consciousness. This is ignorance. Actually, nothing belongs to him. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu recommends that this false intelligence be purified, Chaita Darpana Marjana. When the mirror of intelligence is polished, the real activities of living entity begin. This means that when a person comes to platform of Krishna consciousness, his real intelligence acts. At that time he knows that everything belongs to Krishna and nothing belongs to him. As long as one thinks that everything belongs to him, he is in material consciousness. And when he knows perfectly everything belongs to Krishna, he is in Krishna consciousness. So this is what chanting does to us. This is what chanting does. And actually make us understand that who am I, who is God, what is our relation. And then you can't act like a person in ignorance. Once you know there is a signal light on the road, you can't act like a madman and just walk. There is responsibility. Knowledge brings responsibility. Then you know how to use life, how to not use life. Srila Prabhupada says this also. Another way how he explains. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu recommends Chaita Darpana Marjana. Marjana means cleanse, and Darpana means mirror. The heart is a mirror. It is like camera. Just as camera takes all kinds of pictures of days and nights, so also our hearts take pictures and keeps them in unconscious state. Psychologists know this. The heart takes so many pictures and therefore it becomes covered. We do not know when it has begun, but it is a fact that because there is material contact, our real identity is covered. Now, heart means mind also. Now, whatever we did in previous lives, whatever we see, whatever we heard, whatever feelings those things involve, contacts with objects of sense gratification, is all stored. So many vasanas, so many things are in our heart. Life after life is stored, unfulfilled material desires, everything is stored in the heart. Just like a camera, Prabhupada said, takes pictures and stores them. Mind is a mirror with memory card. Whatever you show, it reflects, but it memorizes also. So now the process is purify it, clean it, remove those coverings. No? Therefore, Chaita Darpana Marjana, one has to cleanse his heart. Simply chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Kevala means only. Simply chant Hare Krishna. It is the easiest and most sublime process. This is recommended, practical and authorized. So take it. Accept it in any condition of life. Chant. There is no expenditure, there is no loss. We are not chanting a secret. No, it is open. And by chanting, you will cleanse your heart. This is Prabhupada speaking to people. This is conversation, recorded room conversations. He's preaching, he's telling. Chant, take it. What is your problem? Take it. This is the situation. You know? People in ignorance, they do not know what's the problem, how to be happy. They do not know. They have no clue. They try millions of ways, but they have no clue. Where is the catch? What is the problem? That no sense gratification can satisfy eternal spirit soul. Only Krishna Bhakti can give pleasure to the soul. So this is all explained. So in his commentaries, Bhaktivinoda Thakur explains in this Sloka that Jiva, by this Chaita Darpana Marjana, there is indicated very clearly that Jiva originally is a pure entity, just like Krishna. His consciousness is pure, but now he is covered. And therefore he is subtle. Jiva has ego or identity. Pure identity is Dasroshan. I am eternal servant of Krishna. The false ego, Ahankara. Ahankara means Aham Karomi. I am the doer. This is the false ego. Kinkara, Kim Karomi. What shall I do, my Lord? Kim Karomi. What shall I do? That is the position of the pure ego. That I am servant of God. Not that we don't have identity. Not that we don't have ego. We have ego. But who am I? I am servant of Krishna. False ego means identify, upadis. I am this, I am that, I am professor, I am student, I am male, I am female, I am influential, I am powerful, I am rich, I am poor, I am fat, I am skinny. These are all upadis, material identifications, material temporary designations, not referring to the internal soul. So this is what Bhaktivinoda Thakur said, that Jiva has ego, that is that he is servant of God. Has spiritual qualities, like a Lord, is a spark of the Lord. Has eternal nature, has eternal spiritual body, has the feelings, all pure, but now it is covered. So, now, because we are part and parcel of the sun, in the sun rays, Bhaktivinoda Thakur said, the heat and light is present, just like in the sun. So what Lord has personality, individuality and qualities, we also have. That is natural, easy to understand. Now, so what happened that many living entities remain in spiritual world. Srila Prabhupada said 90% of jivas choose to stay in spiritual world. But some super smart, us, 10%. Special soul, foolishly we left spiritual world in pursuit of personal selfish interest, in pursuit of searching for selfish happiness. And these jivas, they are entrapped in material existence. This is the position of jiva. So jiva can be conditioned and can be liberated, but Lord cannot be conditioned. Lord is never conditioned. That is his unique position. So now again, when jiva takes the shelter of the Lord, can be delivered. This is a good fortune of jiva. Jiva can work under spiritual or under material worlds. So it's not eternally condemned. Once you come to material world, not eternally here. No, you can come out. So this is the good fortune when Guru comes and uses transcendental knowledge. Hey Jiva, Krishna Das, hey Vishwas, you surrender to Krishna, no more problems. This is the problem. No, Pakistan is a problem. No, my mother-in-law is a problem. Health is a problem. Tax is a problem. Government is the problem. The problem is forgetfulness of Krishna. That is the problem. Problem is lack of Krishna consciousness. That is the problem. Problem is ignorance of Krishna's position. That is the problem. That is the only problem. There is no other problems. No, once I solve my problems, then I will chant. You will never solve your problems with material world. Because material world means problem. It's meant to be problematic. You can't do that. You have to chant. Doesn't make sense. We have to chant. In spite of the problems, we have to chant. Mind is the truth. How can I chant? Chant. You cannot say, I have stomach problem. Doctor says, okay, take the pill. How can I take pill if my stomach is paining? Once stomach pain stops, then I will take the pill. It doesn't make any sense. Doesn't make sense. No? Doesn't make any sense. So, Bhaktivinoda Thakur says like this. Here how he explains. It is therefore clear that Jiva is infinitesimal, possessing the transcendental nature of pure ego, pure soul, and pure form. But when he turns away from God and contemplates the dream material energy, his pure nature becomes contaminated with nations. It is for this reason that the soul has been compared to a mirror. Just as it is impossible to see one's face in dusty mirror, it is similarly impossible to see the real self, the mirror of consciousness, if it is carved by dust of ignorance. So therefore, Chaitra Darpana Marjana. You can't see yourself because mirror is carved with dust. Prabhupada used the same example in English. When you dust the mirror, you put in person, you can't see yourself. So clean, Chaitra Darpana Marjana, clean. Then with every strike, you can see more and more and more. Finally, Swarupa, spiritual form will be revealed by the Chaitra. Here, Prabhupada used the same example. Clearing the dust of mirror of the mind. Darpana means mirror. Just like on the mirror, if there is dust, you cannot see your face very nicely. If you wipe the mirror very nicely. So this Hare Krishna chanting is the process of wiping out the dust accumulated on the mirror of my mind. Mind, Chaitasa. So you see, consciousness means mind, intelligence. See how Prabhupada is using. Heart, all three Prabhupada uses. That is the consciousness. Chaita is consciousness. Mind is not exactly Chaita, not exactly consciousness. But what is consciousness? Awareness. Awareness, who is aware? Intelligence, mind, ego. All three are consciousness, correct? Combined. So, mind, you can't say mind is consciousness because many other things are consciousness, not all included. So our movement for Krishna consciousness is a process of clearing the consciousness. Originally, we are all Krishna conscious. Because in Gita we understand that we are part and parcel of Krishna. So Prabhupada uses the same way like Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Here Bhaktivinoda Thakur says again, when If one begins to learn the Lord in devotional service, particularly hearing and chanting the sacred names and passing to Supreme Lord Krishna directly under the control of his godliness, spiritual pleasure potency, material contamination or messiness is completely undetected. So now, what is it? The bhakti, the process of devotional service, is directly under spiritual potency. Yet, when you engage in devotional service, you are not under the laws of material nature. And then, directly under Gladini Shakti, here Bhakti Thakur says. And therefore, this ignorance will be removed. Now, and immediately he quotes from Rupa Goswami's Namashtaka. He quotes to explain this further. O holy name of Krishna, you dissipate the sufferings of your surrendered devotees caused by their offenses to the holy name. You possess the transcendental form of ecstatic beauty and bliss, and you appear as the embodiment of sublime joy for the residents of Gokula. You are therefore a fully spiritual entity of the same spiritual nature as the Vaikuntha planets. I offer my repeated obeisances to you. So here the glories of holy name, the power, Krishna's name, Nama Chintamani Krishna, Chaitanya Rasa Viva, Buddha Shiva, Abhinatvam, Nama, not different from Krishna. And this is Krishna's mercy that he appears in this transcendental sound vibration as his name, as Mahamantra. And therefore we can access it, we can immediately have association. They asked Srila Prabhupada, reporters asked, when they went for some interviews, early days, that we see your disciples always their hand in the bed. Nowadays we don't see much, but it was like that. And everybody was chanting all the time. And then they asked, all the time they are keeping their hand in the bag and murmuring something. So Prabhupada said, yes, we always chant Hare Krishna. And we are always in direct association with Krishna. Holy name is nothing but Krishna. It is the easiest way to remain God conscious, Krishna conscious, at any point of time. Just you've got a simple and clear explanation. Always chant Krishna's names. Devotees said, when they were waiting in the queue for prasadam, everyone chanted Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Hare. They said, eat between two bites while you are mixing, you are mashing it up, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama. Hare Rama, a little later. All the time. But that was the mood, that was the spirit, that was the mood. And whenever you got time, chant extra rounds, like that. That was the spirit. No? So this is what Srila Prabhupada goes on explaining. The more one goes on chanting, the more the darkness of many lives is dissipated. By chanting, one can cleanse the dust from the mirror of his mind and perceive things very distinctly. What we are perceiving? God, Jiva, Prakriti, Kala, Karma. There is one portion. Now Bhaktivinoda Thakur goes further. He said, then you perceive your Swarupa, you perceive spiritual world, you perceive Krishna's form, Krishna's qualities, Krishna's associates, Krishna's abode. All of this will be perceived. This is the power of the holy name. Nama reveals Rupa of the Lord, form. Nama reveals Gunas, qualities of the Lord. Nama reveals Leelas of the Lord. Nama reveals Dham of the Lord. Nama reveals associates of the Lord. Everything is, and all knowledge, understanding comes from the chanting. Now, when you say Paramijaya Sri Krishna Sankirtan, not only chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, but all glorification of Krishna's name, form, qualities and pastimes, his devotees, his abode, all of this are Kirtan, all are Sankirtan. Whenever there is Harikatha going on, this is Sankirtan. So that has to be understood also. No? Thus one will know what he is, what God is, what the world is, what our relation with God in this world is, how to live in this world, and what our next life is. Such knowledge is not taught in schools, but one is taught how to manufacture or acquire products for sense gratification. Yeah? You see it? What is the knowledge? What is the real pattern? No? Okay. Bhaktivinoda Saraswati Thakur, he says like this. The first shloka describes 7 perfections of chanting of the holy name. Okay. So, We'll go one by one because we split the shloka. First we are just discussing now Chaitanya Marjana. We didn't touch the rest of the shloka. Alright. So Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur says this. By chanting, you become free from three coverings. Material desires, the enjoying spirit, and ungodly atheistic activities. So these three will disappear. These three will reduce till nil. That is the process. So he is very particular. These are the three coverings. Okay. And we all agree. Any objection? Any more? In purified state, Jiva perceives his original position of servant of Krishna in the mirror of his consciousness. So this is the system, this is the word. Prabhupada again says, in the words of Lord Chaitanya, the state of affairs is called Chaitanya Marjana, or clearance of the impure mirror of the mind. This clearance is actually liberation of Bhava Mahadavakti Nirvapana. So now this is introduction to Bhava Mahadavakti Nirvapana, which we'll do tomorrow because it's 9:15. Huh? Shall we do like that? Huh? We start. So like this, we will believe what Prabhupada said, what Bhaktivinoda Thakur said, what Bhaktisiddhanta said, try to understand how much is packed into this shlokas of Śikṣāṣṭaka. Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.